global death toll of the Chinese coronavirus currently sits at almost 5,000 people. That's the official number. In Iran, officials haven't even confirmed a total of 500 deaths. That's what they're claiming. And yet satellite image suggests authorities are evacuating massive trenches to hold the bodies of victims. So the lesson there, and you knew this, governments lie. But they're not the only people who lie. As the death toll rises, it's important to never forget how we got here. This pandemic came out of China, and it came out of China for a reason. That's a country with poor health practices. It's a country where government officials deliberately covered up the early stages of the virus when it could have been stopped before it spread out of control. In fact, the outbreak may have begun not in a public meat market, but in a poorly run Chinese laboratory. Now, that's not our theory. Anyone who raises that theory on American television is attacked as a conspiracy monger. But this is a theory from a now censored Chinese paper. A draft paper posted in mid-February, scientists at the South China University of Technology suggested that the coronavirus outbreak began at the Wuhan Center for Disease Control, where an animal may have infected a researcher who then spread the disease outside the facility. The paper is explicit about this. We're going to quote it. The killer coronavirus probably originated from a laboratory in Wuhan, end quote. Now, we have no idea if that's actually true. But again, those were Chinese researchers making an evidence-based argument about the origin of this virus. That paper has since been taken down. No explanation has been offered for that, though you can guess. Instead, China, the same country that controls 96% of antibiotics we use in this nation, the same country that is warning to cut off drug exports to the U.S. to kill Americans, is now trying to hide the reality of where coronavirus came from. In fact, they're doing worse than that. The Communist Party of China is trying to blame the virus on America. Li Zhao was a spokesman for China's foreign ministry. A week ago, Zhao attacked anyone who dared to link the virus to China.
Certain media say this coronavirus is a China virus. This is extremely irresponsible, and we firmly oppose that. We are still tracing the origin of the virus, and there is no conclusion yet.
That was last week. Zhao has evolved since then. Today on Twitter, he accused America of creating the virus. Quote, when did patient zero begin in U.S.? How many people are infected? What are the names of the hospitals? It might be U.S. Army that brought the epidemic to Wuhan. Be transparent. Make public your data. U.S. owes us an explanation! Exclamation point. Keep in mind, these are the people, the Chinese leadership that our media class has allied with, has sucked up to for years, has made every excuse for endlessly. Even when China blamed the United States for a plague they unleashed, even when the Chinese government threatened to murder our citizens by cutting off drugs, our media continue to take their side. Watch this.
The president referred to the coronavirus as a, quote, foreign virus. And I think it's going to it's going to come across to a lot of Americans as smacking of xenophobia.
That was CNN's Jim Acosta, a poisonous moron. Amazingly, though, it was just 2 months ago, and we keep track, that Acosta was sending tweets himself about the, quote, Wuhan coronavirus. He hadn't yet received his orders from Jeff Zucker, who receives his from China, so that was okay. But now, the word is out. Must protect China at all costs. Even presidential candidates are playing along. Watch this.
Downplaying it, being overly dismissive, or spreading misinformation is only going to hurt us and further advantage the spread of the disease. But neither should we panic or fall back on xenophobia. Labeling COVID-19 a foreign virus does not displace accountability for the misjudgments that have been taken thus far by the Trump administration.
So it's our fault. Just to be clear, describing a virus from Wuhan as the Wuhan virus is not xenophobia, it's accuracy. And anyone who says otherwise is lying, and probably for a reason. In any crisis, our government's chief obligation is to the lives of our citizens. It's not to other countries. It's not to the GDP. It's certainly not to the Communist Party of China. But for our ruling class, the highest priority of all is now and always wokeness. That and approval from Beijing. Tells you everything about them.